I was looking around on AliExpress for some top quality electronics to buy and I came across this guy. There's a whole bunch of bootleg nonsense going on here, so I had to have it. However, when the parcel arrived, this guy was inside. Surprise! So I guess we're doing a Bootlegadrive video, or I guess Bootlegenesis if you're in America. I like how the Super Mini MD is in the Super Nintendo font, even though this is a Sega console. I'm not really sure what kind of games this is going to play, but it says 16-bit, so it's probably either Genesis Mega Drive or Super Nintendo. The fact that it looks like a Mega Drive might not necessarily mean it plays Mega Drive games. Built-in 2 gigabits games. Now, gigabits are a misleading unit to use here. Consumer storage size is normally in gigabytes, which is 8 times a gigabit. So if this 2 gigabit has any meaning at all, which it may not, it's actually 250 megabytes. Also, there's a baseball that's on fire. Now, since I didn't actually order this, I'm not really sure what we're going to find inside. The box really doesn't help me much. This is all that's written on it, aside from Made in China and classics. What have we got? It's a baby one. Look at this. That's actually really cute. Oh, what does that smell? Oh, that smells like a moldy basement. That's gross. The factory this came out of has some serious damp issues. So here's the entire contents of the box. Power cable, AV cable, controllers, and an introduction for connecting TV. Never allow children play it alone for it comes to the power using. Never disassemble or repair the machine by yourself. I wonder what yourself did to get a special mention in this manual. Ooh, look at this. You get almost a full set of rubber feet. There's micro USB and AV out, not labeled on the back. The cartridge slot does nothing. The volume slider does nothing. The power switch does work. Ooh, reset works as well. I guess it's time to find out what it plays. Super 208 in 1. Wow, it's actually in alphabetical order. That's awesome. So many of these things just have a random list. Aladdin. Let's play Aladdin. Oh, wow. This might actually be Sega Mega Drive. It's in Japanese. I'm impressed. I thought this was going to be a NES clone with just some Mega Drive style hacks on it, but it's actually a Mega Drive clone. The sound is kind of crunchy, but it plays smooth. I can't see anything wrong with this. Does reset work? It does. So what Alex Kidd have we got on here? I don't know my Alex Kidd that well. Maybe this is actually the Mega Drive version? Yeah, this looks pretty Mega Drive to me. Oh, look at that. I just noticed the power light's blue. That would have been cool as heck 20 years ago. Yeah, columns. This was one of my childhood games. Yeah, okay, we know columns. Boogerman, yes. This was another one of my childhood games. I never actually owned it, but I did rent it a bunch. A pick and flick adventure. As a kid, I loved this game because it had burps and farts and boogers. You can even charge your burps. Well, that fart's hanging out hard. There we go, much better. As far as actual gameplay goes, yeah, I don't know, it's probably average. Even the voice emulation is kind of okay on this thing. Alright, so there are actually 208 games on here. I don't think there are any duplicates at all, which is awesome. They also all seem to be Mega Drive games. Sometimes these things have a few Mega Drive games and then just a whole bunch of Master System games because they're 8-bit, easier to emulate, they take up less space. But everything I found on here has been a Mega Drive game so far. Yeah, throw you away, Mr. Purple Man. Yeah, punch, 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 punch. Just stop being infinite, please. Can you just stop it? I'm just gonna fight on these children, okay? I'm done with this game. It's just giving me infinite ooze, man. Come on, give me some Sonic. Have we got Sonic on here? Yeah, we have. Sonic Megamix. All right, I'm not familiar with that one. Yeah, I feel like this one's a ROM hack. Save. Wow. This kind of looks like a mix between Sonic 3 and Sonic 2, which kind of makes sense if it's a Mega Mix. The sound is not coping with this music very much, but the speakers in my monitor are terrible, so that could be the reason. Yeah, I got a life. I got 100 rings. Wow, the frame rate's really chunking along there. But the original Sonic games on the real Mega Drive did that too. I had one of the Sega compilations on PS2, and I thought that it was a really poor effort that Sonic had massive frame drops, but actually it was emulating the original Mega Drive perfectly. It's just that the real Mega Drive had massive slowdown too. Sega! Actually, while we're on the topic of Sega, I want to address something that comes up in all of my Sega videos, and that's my pronunciation of Sega. I know the rest of the world says Sega, and a lot of Australians would too, because it's been a long time since Sega was a household name. I'm not making up the Sega pronunciation. If you look at old TV ads from Australia, they all say Sega. 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 Nobody I knew when I was a kid said Sega. So for whatever reason, Sega Australia decided that they were called Sega. The most common comment I get is that it says it right there at the beginning of Sonic. But what I'm hearing there is the Japanese, Sega, which is halfway between Sega and Sega, so you could go either way, really. And this is a time when voice synthesis in games was still kind of sketchy, so it wasn't really trustworthy. But you know, as a kid, I did wonder why it got Sega wrong at the beginning of a Sega game. We just never considered that anyone would say anything other than Sega. So no, I'm not unknowingly saying the wrong thing. I'm sticking to a part of Australia's video gaming heritage. Let's play Sonic. You know, for bootleg controllers, these are kind of okay, but I guess that's what happens when you take a direct mold of the Asian version of the Mega Drive controller. This one's actually legit. Actually, hey, the real controllers work. Whoa, the bootleg one even has a mode button. The mode button on these controllers was for some games which didn't support a 6-button controller to put it into 3-button compatibility mode. Yay, I freed all the little animals. Oh, Wonder Boy 3. Is this the Wonder Boy 3 that I like? Yeah, Monster Lair. This one's great. This Wonder Boy game's kind of different to the others in that it's kind of like a shoot 'em up with power-ups and stuff, but it alternates between being a platformer with the power-ups still and a shoot 'em up with the power-ups. I wasn't sure if this was going to be the Wonder Boy that I thought it was because Wonder Boy seems to have a lot of very similar names that are completely different games. See here now we've got the side-scrolling shoot 'em up sort of thing. I think this is really cool the way it's 2 genres in one. And I'm dead. We gotta hear this though, don't we? Rise from your grave. Rise from your grave. Yeah, okay, that's all I wanted from this game. I reckon it's time to rip it apart now and see what we've got inside. So nice of them to make my job easier by only including 3 feet. I can see why. That would have fallen off in the factory because there's a microscopic ring of plastic for the adhesive to stick to. These just come off so easily. I don't remember actually ever taking a Mega Drive clone apart before, so this is going to be interesting. Seems like it's usually Nintendo who gets cloned, even though they're the ones who are most likely to sue you for it. Oh look, everything came out in the top case. As usual with clone systems, there's a whole lot of nothing in here. This PCB is the entire console, and this little one here is just where the ports live. So if I plug this in again as it is, it will still work perfectly. This chip is the entire Mega Drive, except for some of the timing circuitry and probably the video amplifier by the look of it. And this rectangle over here is the storage where all the games live. I had hoped to read the numbers off of this chip and find out if it's actually 2 gigabits worth of storage, but they've lasered them off, so I can't do that. It is very large for a flash ROM though, so it definitely could be. Something I've noticed down in here is that there are some tiny little jumpers here, which might change some video modes or something on this console. I'm going to do it while it's live and see if anything changes. Nope. Oh, don't do that. So what I just did is short this pad to this pad and the whole thing died and came back. And that is because over here is ground and over here is 5 volts and this has a factory link between the middle and ground. So I just shorted out the power supply. Cut this trace, short the other 2 together, the clock goes nuts. This thing here is a crystal oscillator. This is what times the entire system. The way they adjust the video timing between regions is they change this crystal and probably this jumper. Without changing the crystal, this jumper is just gonna make it freak out and not work. We do have more jumpers over here labeled JD2 though. I wonder if those do things. Not that one. Ah, that's the one I was expecting to find. That one's switching from 60 Hz to 50 Hz, but because that crystal is set up for NTSC, 50 Hz loses color. What if I do both of them? This is getting precarious. Oh, I kind of get color back. So basically I've come to the conclusion that I don't know entirely what those jumpers do, except for the one in the top right here is for 50-60 Hz, and it loses color when you put it into 50 Hz. Also no, it's not my monitor, this thing does everything. And that's the Super Mini MD. It's not what I ordered, and it's 100% a pirate Sega Mega Drive, but it's actually pretty good. It has over 200 games with no duplicates. The only ROM hacks are ones you might actually want to play. Even the controllers, while being a little bit stiff, and you can definitely feel the difference, they're usable. So for a surprise bootleg, I'm actually not that disappointed. It's actually worth powerging. So normally I schedule all my YouTube videos to come out at a certain time, but if you don't want to wait for that, you can get ad-free early access to all my videos on Floatplane for $2.50 a month. And I'm also a massive video game collector. I'm always buying new things, so you'll get a picture of every video game thing that I get, or if you only want the video game pictures, you can join me for $1 a month. The link's in the description, I'll see you there.